Уважаемый господин председатель правительства, дорогие
Prime Minister Fico, friends, allow me once again to welcome you in Moscow.
мы, безусловно, ценим ваше
We
решение
treasure
приехать
your
на
decision
празднование
to come
80-й
here
годовщины
to celebrate the
Великой
80th
Отечественной войны.
anniversary of our victory in the Great Patriotic War.
Несколькими словами
We've just exchanged a
знаю
couple of
о
words, and
ваших трудностях
I
в
know
вашем
about the complications that arose with your
все-таки
travel
некоторые препятствия
to Moscow.
логистические,
There
но
were certain logistical obstacles that were created on your path.
здесь
Um,
некоторые,
Nevertheless, you are here with us,
те, кто пытаются
and I'm confident that the people that tried to
планов, мы вас убедили, что
thwart
выполнение
your plans
своих целей вы
have
добиваетесь.
failed, and you have succeeded in arriving here. It is symbolic that 10 years ago, in 2015, you also participated in the celebration of the 70-year anniversary of the victory in World War II, and we are grateful to the leadership and the people of Slovakia for the way they honor the burial grounds of Soviet warriors that fell in the battle to liberate Slovakia from the Nazi invaders. I know that you had the proposal to create a monument to Marshal Konev in your country. This is a noble thing that you proposed, and we are thankful to you. If you need anything from us to help you with that, we are ready. Now, this year, we are awaiting the finishing of the reconstruction of this central memorial cemetery in Michalovce. At the initiative of our embassy in Slovakia, I think from what I've heard, it's going to be done by November this year. This is the largest cemetery of its kind in Slovakia, and we're thankful for your personal support of this project and the way you decided to participate in financing this project. I'd like to thank you for your initiatives in terms of the youth, and in March, the celebrations on the 80-year anniversary of the events in Slovakia, the national revolution that happened. A number of Russian youth participated in that too. Also, a number of Russian youth participated in the events to commemorate the liberation of Bratislava. And this is to underscore our partnership in terms of the history in World War II. Unfortunately, the previous Slovakian authorities directly followed the line of the West, and some of our initiatives have been frozen, incomplete rather. And in our previous meeting, we've agreed to work with your government to restart bilateral cooperation, bilateral relations. This is your initiative, and we absolutely support that. We will do everything that we can do to do our part. And we've always treasured Slovakia as a friendly nation, and our relations were always based on mutual respect. This is what I wanted to say, and now I'd like to give the floor to you. Thank you.
Vážený pán prezident,
President Putin,
dovoľte, aby som vám a vašim spolupracovníkom poďakoval
allow me to extend my gratitude to you and your officials here for your hospitality and the care that you provided us during your visit here in Moscow, in Russia. President Putin, I'd like to emphasize one thing. The Slovakian national uprising that took place in 1944 had certain orders, and that orders say that our country is an anti-fascist country. and we honor all men and women who fought against Nazism and fascism, who liberated our country from Nazi Germany. So there was no dilemma in my mind when I received your invitation to participate in this celebration of the 80-year anniversary of the victory in the Great Patriotic War. It was an honor to me, and I gladly accepted that. All the technical difficulties, the obstacles that we encountered, brought on by our counterparts from the European Union, let's take that as a kids' play, let's as a joke. There were alternatives. We could go through Kaliningrad or through Belarus. There were many options for us to arrive here, but my goal was to arrive in Moscow by 9 o'clock in the morning today. And Mr. President, let me reaffirm that Slovakia's government is very much interested in having cooperation with Russia, certainly when it comes to all the events of World War II and the cemeteries that you mentioned. The decision to build a monument to Marshal Konev had to do with the historical operation that took place during the war. As to the town of Mykolaice, we've already opened the largest military cemetery there. 16,000 Red Army troops, Red Army servicemen are buried there, people who participated in liberating Slovakia from Nazi Germany. And I'm grateful to your ambassador for participating in opening that cemetery. It is now a public cemetery, and we have other projects like that. We could even draw up a list of other monuments and cemeteries like this that we could concentrate on later. Now, Mr. President, I'm not going to say anything out of the ordinary if I say that there's a lot of willingness from some parties to create a new Iron Curtain, so to speak, and it is manifested in different forms. For example, yesterday, when I realized how difficult it was to actually arrive in Russia, unlike before, when it took only it would take only 2 hours to come to Moscow from Bratislava. Also, take the sanctions that actually backfire against the European Union, and now there has been a proposal by the EU that's called repowering. It entails stopping all the export of energy resources or the import of energy resources from Russia. But let's be constructive. If you think that someone would buy fuel from Westinghouse and going to introduce it to our nuclear power plants, now that's impossible. The pause of deliveries from Russia would cause instabilities when it comes to processing oil. Now, our petrochemical plants, for example, were designed to use Russian energy resources, Russian oil, and pausing that could cause technological issues. And I hope that our partners from the European Union take that into account when they carry out new initiatives in the repowering program. All 27 countries would have to agree on a decision like that, and we would use veto right to block the use of other energy resources. If there's a decision and if there's a vote, and it's not going to be unanimous, major countries will make their own decisions. And yesterday, on the 8th of May, our government, the government of Slovakia, working with the defense ministry, we organized our own celebrations, and 35,000 people participated in that. Those were public holidays, public celebrations, and it reaffirms that the people of our country respect common sense. They have common sense. And yesterday at that meeting, I publicly said I do not support the idea of a new Iron Curtain, and we're going to do everything possible to pierce through that Iron Curtain and shake each other's hands. When Czechoslovakia was liberated, 65,000 Red Army soldiers perished. And to me, it's a moral duty, in fact, to come here today and celebrate that sacrifice. We also visited the museum, the interactive museum of victory. So, Mr. President, we live in a time, in a difficult time, and we are a member of the EU and of NATO. We would like to be respectable partners in those organizations, but let's find ways of developing our own relations. Let me reiterate, Slovakia is very much interested in normalizing relations with Russia. We have the capacities to work based on the work between our parliaments. Our deputies from the Slovakian parliament took part in Volgograd in a conference, so we can develop on that further. As for practical cooperation in terms of the energy sector, we're talking about nuclear power plants, and the government of Slovakia believes that it is virtually impossible to close up, to put a pause to our partnership in the nuclear energy, to put a stop to it. I'll do everything to make sure our relations get better, because right now they are unfortunately at a catastrophically low level. Today I received words basically from Kaja Kallas. She said that I'm on the wrong side of history. I don't accept that. I believe that we need to continue to talk, we need to continue to communicate. I'd like to thank you, Mr. President, that in addition to just this protocol discussions, I have a chance to have bilateral talks. I, for example, talked to the President of Brazil, to the President of China, and the General Secretary of Vietnam's Communist Party. These are major powers in the world, and I'm going to continue to participate in dialogues like this. Now, I'm a prime minister who's interested in normalizing discussions, and you know what we think about the war. And let me reiterate, I'm a proponent of the idea that there is no military solution. There are initiatives coming from Brazil, from China. We are working within the UN group called Friends of Peace. And it would be a good thing to have updated information on the development of this conflict and the conflict resolution process. We're happy to see that there is dialogue, that there is search for a solution to the conflict. This is something that we've stood for since the very start of this conflict. So thank you for this opportunity to meet with you. And as Prime Minister of my country, let me tell you that I'm very much interested in having diplomatic relations with your country. Thank you.
Ďakujem pekne.